Welcome all back, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on through, being back here with me as we continue our album list of Television's Marquee Moon. We're going to move on to the next track here, which is Friction. Now, I was sitting here reading a little bit about the album on the Wikipedia page just to kind of get a little bit more knowledge within myself as we continue to listen. And I did think that this was really interesting. I had no idea, even though I'm sure by this point someone's probably commented it and put something in the comments there. But it says here that the band had received interest from labels by late 1974, but chose to wait for an appropriate record deal. They turned down a number of major labels, including Island Records, for whom they had recorded demos with producer Brian Eno. They turned down Brian Eno. Now that is interesting, but here's what they had to say, okay? Because he did produce a few songs for them, a few demos. It says Television frontman Tom Verlaine did not approve of Eno's sound. He recorded us very cold and brittle, no resonance. We're oriented towards really strong guitar music, sort of expressionistic. Can I tell you, I love that, and I find that so respectful. Like, you have someone as just like, I don't know, this enigma of a producer, of a musician, of a person, Brian Eno, who wants to produce for you. But you have the honesty towards yourself, your creative self, and you say that's not the form of art, and that's not the sound we're really looking for. I think that is really awesome, and turning down major labels to stay true to your music and yourself. That, if anything, I think that is worth mentioning and worth commending, for lack of a better word. Anyways, let me go ahead and pull up the music right here. Let me get there. Hold on. It's coming. There. And there we go. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. We'll talk about it after. Let's go. There it is. Expressive guitar. This is groovy. Interesting how he's riffing and rising on the pitch there. Okay, so no one is playing around on this album, Billy especially. Billy's drumming throughout this whole track. Like, the whole thing is dynamic, every musician is stellar here. I'm really enjoying this, and Venus is still my favorite track so far. Not that we're very far, but this one, it does hit a certain spot. So sophisticated, so energetic, but we gotta talk about Billy's drumming, in which he's playing, like, for lack of a better word, in the pocket. He's playing to the song, but then every once in a while, kind of starting slowly, he'll kind of start to burst at his own seams, and he'll start to add in these little fills, not frills, even though that kind of works. He's starting to add in these little fills in there. He starts to play a little bit more on the hi-hat in between the beat itself. He begins to insert some toms and everything, and then the very end, yeah, he gets down a little bit more as the closing comes down. But throughout this track, he is just, I would imagine that live, he would be so interesting to watch live and to kind of study him and just watch how he diversifies the sound when it comes strictly to the rhythm itself. The music is so dynamic as well. I really like the part where the music kind of drops off a little bit, and you have the riff that kind of does like a ba-da-da, and then you have the bass that kind of fills in the next space while Verlaine's continuing over that. Speaking of Verlaine, his guitar is so expressful throughout this song. There's moments where it really sings and it really speaks. There's moments where it growls and convulses. I really like that one part. I can't exactly tell you what's going on, but it sounds like he's, riffing really quickly, but then just sliding his fingers, I guess, down, like making the pitch go higher. He's like, they're just creating this really unique kind of soundscape, and kind of taking something conventional and maybe standard at the time, and really expressing themselves, really allowing it to grow. Like, really, really fantastic. This is a great album so far. Let's get into these lyrics here, though. I knew it must have been a big setup, or some big setup. All the action just would not lit up. It's just a little bit back from the main road where the silence spreads and the men dig holes. Are they digging holes for bodies? I start to spin the tale. You complain of my diction. You give me friction, friction. You give me friction, friction. So whoever this other person is complaining about the words he's using, and I guess there's some friction in their relationship. My eyes are like telescopes. I see it all backwards, but who wants hope? Interesting. His eyes are like telescopes, so they look far ahead, but I see it all backwards, like the telescope is turned around. Who wants hope? If I ever catch that ventriloquist, I'll squeeze his head right into my fist. So the ventriloquist, in a way, was speaking for him, taking his words, perhaps also relating to, the other person didn't like his diction, the way he was speaking. How does a snake get out of its skin? Here's a depiction. Oh, stop using this head motion, set the sails, all us boys gonna wind up in jail. Well, I don't want to grow up, there's too much contradiction and too much friction. But I dig friction. I'm crazy about friction. And then he spells it out. So he kind of, this conflict that he finds himself in and at odds with other people, he kind of likes that. He kind of enjoys that feeling of friction and conflict. This is good. This is good. This is good. It says here that, let's see, the featuring a more sensible punk beat, but beginning in a minor key that includes an opening guitar solo going down in scale. Friction provides itself, or proves itself, an inspiration for John McGock's later Susie Sue playing. Okay, it's kind of cool. Anyways, wonderful track, wonderful album. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. Follow me on Twitter. I almost forgot what to say. Follow me on Twitter, support the channel on Patreon. Come back tomorrow, and I will see you all then. Bye, guys.